Hello there, my name is Bram Verschaven. I made this game for the game design course and will now explain a bit what I did and how it all works. The first thing I did was brainstorm a bit around the constraint and theme I got, which were generational gap 15, and my constraint was character movement cannot be influenced directly, interactions with the level or NPCs can influence it. After brainstorming around, I had a couple of ideas like you could get older every level, or every time you die, you become older, but because of my constraint, I also had some other ideas, like using a lasso or a slide, but that would clash with my team. The main idea I went with was that you move around two kids by using two laser pointers according to each colors. But I scrapped the idea of the laser pointer and just made it so you can move around with the cursor. One of the kids would be blue and would be able to push objects and the player forward, and the other kid, the red one, could jump and interact with red objects. After brainstorming, I made the paper prototype, which was essentially a few paper cutouts that I could move around. Because it was on paper, I could not entirely figure out how the jumping for the kids worked and how I would tell the kids to move, but it worked out. Then after the paper prototype, I started using Unreal. The first thing I wanted to get right was the movement of the two kids, since that's my main mechanic. This took me the most time and were the main things I constantly changed after the feedback sessions and tried to fix. At first the kids stick to my face, but they were at least sticking to the cursor, but the cursor was still invisible. After this, we had our first feedback session, and the main thing I was told to change was to add other objects as well, besides my kids, because I didn't have any other things, and change how the kids work because it was not entirely right yet. Because the cursor moves around, even when hidden, I decided to make the cursor visible and look around, and made it so you can look around using the right button. The kids were still not done since they just teleported to where the cursor pointed, and it also bugged through the ground. After that I had my second feedback session. I was told that because of the color of the pressure plate, they thought it was supposed to only be used by the blue kid, which made me then make a separate object, in this case a lever, only usable by the red kid. I also fixed the kids' movement by using an AI instead of teleporting them to the location. I also implemented that the red kid can now jump, and I tried it out. The first problem that arose was that the nav mesh wasn't accurate enough. I changed this by changing the agent radius of the nav mesh, and this helped a lot. Because the red kid can now jump on top of other objects, you can see where it has to go since it's too high. You can't see it. So I implemented a feature where the blue kid can pick you up if he is near enough. I also wanted a cube that could only move by the blue kid since that was one of his main mechanics, but I had some trouble with this. But in the end, I got it to work. After this, I started to make the map a little and did a few levels. I made it so one or more pressure plates can open up a door. This can also be done by pulling levers or other things. Then I started to make a HUD where you can choose all the actions of the kids and which kids you can move around. I made it so you can press the buttons using the mouse on the screen and use keybinds to control it. I then made a tutorial and connected it to the map. The controls and what you have to do are nicely explained there. There's also a little puzzle for you to do before level 1, and I also made it so that the kids tell a little bit about themselves, so you feel like a dad figure in the game. The ending of the game is just a you escape screen, since I wanted to implement a little cutscene where they get to leave the rooms, but since this was not allowed, I didn't have much, and I didn't have much time to do this. I wasn't able to do it. And yes, this was my evolution game. Thank you for listening.